Good morning, Shem Stars. In previous videos of chapter 13, photosynthesis in higher plants, we studied site of photosynthesis and photosystems. In this presentation, we will understand mechanism of photosynthesis. Now we know photosynthesis occurs in chloroplasts of the cell. Photosynthesis occurs in two steps: light reaction or photochemical phase. Second one is dark reaction or biosynthetic phase. Photochemical phase directly depends on light. The pigments absorb the light energy and convert it into ATP. Electron transport, ATP synthesis, and photolysis are the two major events in light reactions. During this phase, water is dissociated and oxygen is liberated. ATP and NADPH formed in this phase are used up during the biosynthetic phase. Second, dark reaction, second phase of the photosynthesis, biosynthetic phase, does not directly depend on light but depends on the products of light reaction. These products are ATP and NADPH. Carbon dioxide is reduced to produce carbohydrate. Now let's understand light reaction or photophosphorylation in detail. During light reaction, there are two possible routes for electron flow. First one is non-cyclic photophosphorylation and second one is cyclic photophosphorylation. Now let's talk about non-cyclic photophosphorylation. It is also known as Z scheme due to its characteristic shape and is the predominant route. Both photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 are involved in this pathway. Light energy is trapped by the light harvesting complex of photosystem 2 and is passed on to the reaction center of chlorophyll A, that is P680. Photosystem 2, 680 is the wavelength of the light. Since the electrons lost from the photosystem 2 do not return to the photosystem 2 but are replaced by those from water, the process is called non-cyclic. In cyclic photophosphorylation, only photosystem 1 is functional. The electrons are circulated within the photosystem 1 and phosphorylation occurs within the cyclic flow. This happens in the stroma lamellae, which lags photosystem 2 and NADP reductase enzyme. So the excited electrons do not pass on to NADP but return to photosystem 1 through electron transport system. There is a formation of ATP but no NADPH is formed. Cyclic photophosphorylation alone occurs when light of wavelength higher than 680 nanometer is available. Photolysis of water takes place in presence of sunlight in the lumen of thylakoid because water splitting complex is located on the inner side of the thylakoid membrane. Water splitting complex is associated with the photosystem 2. The electrons are used to replace the electrons lost by the photosystem 2. The oxygen is liberated into the atmosphere while the protons accumulate in the lumen of thylakoids. Now let's talk about the dark reaction or the biosynthetic phase of photosynthesis. The process by which carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrates is called carbon fixation. It makes use of the ATP and NADPH produced in the light phase. It occurs in the stroma of chloroplast by a series of enzyme catalyzed reactions. The path of carbon in the dark reaction was traced by Melvin Kelvin through a technique called autoradiography using C14. Hence, it is termed as Kelvin cycle. Kelvin cycle consists of three phases. Number 1 is carboxylation, reduction, and third one is regeneration of ribulose biphosphate. Carboxylation is the fixation of carbon dioxide into a stable organic intermediate. Carbon dioxide is accepted by a 5-carbon molecule ribulose 1,5 biphosphate in presence of an enzyme, that is ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase. It results in formation of an unstable 6-carbon compound, which breaks to form two molecules of the first stable 3-carbon compounds 3-phosphoglycerate in presence of an enzyme carboxy dismutase. In the second phase of this cycle, that is reduction, which is reversal of glycolysis, the 3-carbon atom compound, that is 3-phosphoglycerate, gets reduced in presence of ATP and NADPH2 to form 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, also known as the triose phosphate. Few molecules of 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde are driven out from Calvin cycle and are used as precursor of glucose synthesis. The third step of the Calvin cycle is regeneration of ribulose biphosphate. Ribulose biphosphate regeneration from 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde molecule takes place in the presence of ATP molecules, ATP from the light reaction. 6 Calvin cycles are needed to synthesize one glucose molecule. So children, this is all about light and dark reactions of photosynthesis. I hope you must have understood. In the next presentation, we will talk about C4 pathway. Thank you, Shem Stars. That's all for today. You can drop your queries on Google Classroom. Take care.